the San Antonio Spurs.
If Giannis comes down here to San Antonio, it's finna be mayhem. It's finna be chaos. It's finna be havoc. All right, we finna get back to the video, but real quick, these are the Tuesday plays that we're going with. Me and my brother cooked this one up. So look, we going Joker under 22.5 rebound assists, over Jalen Williams 9.5 rebound assists, and we going Aaron Gordon over 9.5 rebound assists. If you're new and you haven't played, click the link and use promo code Blair. You're gonna get a free pick when you sign up, plus a first time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus cash. If you're on Underdog and you're just looking for something to go with, this is what we're going with tomorrow night. So click the link, use code Blair. Man, so look, man, they saying this just broke the NBA. Dallas got the number 1 pick, Spurs got the number 2 pick, but it doesn't look like they're gonna use the number 2 pick. I'll explain later. As for some of y'all that don't know, for some of y'all that do know, I'm from San Antonio, so the Spurs, like, I can low-key claim the Spurs is one of my teams, right? So, like, I'm a KD fan first and foremost. Wherever he goes, I'm going to root for that team. But I think I'm going to start rooting for the Spurs, because I like the way the Spurs, even though they weren't good this past season, the season before, I like the direction they're heading. So, let's get to this video.
Exploring what those options outside of Milwaukee look like. Plenty of natural, substantive conversations that are going to be taking place here. The season is in jeopardy next year with that Achilles tear. So
the very thing that we've been prophesizing on this YouTube channel for the past year is finally coming to fruition. And although some Milwaukee Bucks fans might be in denial about Giannis Antetokounmpo finally deciding to leave the Milwaukee Bucks, the writing is definitely...
That man, Giannis, said he's gonna explore options outside of Milwaukee.
The wall. So before we get to the content, we just uploaded a brand new video on our baseball channel, Uni Diamond Talk.
We're gonna react to some of that. I ain't
I'm gonna leave a link to it in the end screen. If you guys are into baseball, you can check it out after this video. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro.
Shout out to Flight Mike, boy.
We've been
he be putting out some
incredible to start
bangers,
the
ain't gonna lie.
playoffs, hitting on 3 picks to make...
Hey, we with Underdog, man. I ain't gonna cap. We ain't even gonna get this off my screen.
Credit where credit's due. The Milwaukee Bucks did absolutely everything in their
what
power
is going
to
on
ensure
with this, man?
that Giannis Antetokounmpo would stay on their roster for as long as humanly possible. Remember, in 2020, when Giannis Antetokounmpo was up for a contract extension, the Milwaukee Bucks made a huge trade for Jrue Holiday. Trade that saw the Milwaukee Bucks dealing away 3 future first-round picks and 2 additional draft pick swaps in order to get Jrue Holiday and Sam Merrill. 1 year later, they won an NBA championship, but despite that, Giannis Antetokounmpo...
That should have been ours. I ain't gonna cap. I don't want to hate on him. That should have been the Nets. But let's keep going.
Wasted no time in saying that his future might not be in Milwaukee. Famously saying that one challenge was to bring a championship here, and we did. It was very hard, but we did. Very, very hard. I just love challenges. What's the next challenge? Well, the next challenge might not be here. It's not that I don't love Milwaukee. Me and my family chose to stay in this city that we all love and has taken care of us for now. In 2 years, that might change. I'm being totally honest with you. I'm always honest. I love this city, I love this community, and I want to help as much as possible. Fortunately for the Milwaukee Bucks, they had a fairly successful season during the 2021-22 season, finishing 3rd in the Eastern Conference and losing in the semifinals in 7 games to the Boston Celtics. But things would start to go downhill from there. During the 2023 season, they would finish 1st in the Eastern Conference, but Giannis Antetokounmpo would...
Yeah, that man got hurt. They both got hurt and lost
injuries
to
right during the
Miami.
time for the playoffs, and the Milwaukee Bucks would lose to the Miami Heat in the first round in 5 games. So this caused a bit of a panic for the Milwaukee Bucks. Following that season, they fired their head coach, Mike Budenholzer. Giannis Antetokounmpo was heavily involved in the hiring of their next coach, Adrian Griffin, and they swung a huge blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard, essentially depleting themselves of any future assets until the 2031 NBA draft. They would...
Ooh, 2031? Yo, I didn't know. Dog. Let me see, 2024. So that's 7. They wouldn't go ahead and for 7 years. Dog, that's crazy.
Adrian Griffin in the middle of the season and hire Doc Rivers, who seemed very happy about getting the opportunity.
That was so shady. I ain't gonna lie. That whole thing was shady. The fact that they got Doc and Doc was a part of, I ain't gonna lie, the whole thing seemed real shady. I ain't gonna lie.
Told our owners when they called, I said, I don't understand why you're doing this. One of the things they said was, well, it doesn't matter. We've done it now, and we want you.
But unfortunately, the Bucks would get injured once again for the 2024 playoffs, losing in the first round to the Indiana Pacers in 6 games. So during this past season, they tried to tinker with the roster even more. They traded away Chris Middleton and AJ Johnson for Kyle Kuzma in hopes that maybe Kyle Kuzma would be more available during the playoffs.
Kyle Kuzma was way worse. That man did a whole bunch of cardio. That man played 22 minutes or whatever it was and did what I was doing. What me and you were doing, like our stat line, he did the same thing. Us sitting down at home, he put up the same amount of stats that we did. Nothing.
They took a flyer on Kevin Porter Jr. They hired Darvin Ham, and Darvin Ham,
that was a bad mistake.
His favorite player in the NBA, Taurean Prince, as well. And the result was once again losing to the Indiana Pacers in 5 games in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Damian Lillard had blood clots right before the NBA playoffs. He miraculously was able to return 3 weeks after, but during the first round of the playoffs, he would tear his Achilles tendon, meaning Damian Lillard is going to be out for the 2025 to 2000.
Man, prayers up for Dame, Jason Tatum. It looked like he tore his Achilles, man. All these players tear, like, especially the cold players, are tearing their Achilles.
26 season. Once he returns, he's going to be a shell of his former self. The Milwaukee Bucks no longer have any assets to improve the team alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they're stuck paying a player that is out for the 2025-26 season a super maximum contract. So it's no wonder why Giannis Antetokounmpo is evaluating his future outside of Milwaukee, and Shams even said so himself.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, the 2-time NBA MVP, he has not made any firm decisions about his future. He is open-minded about whether his best fit is in Milwaukee or playing elsewhere, and is it sensible for him to potentially leave? And we've known over the last several years, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been very open-minded. His goal is to win a championship.
Look, at the same time, this isn't Giannis Antetokounmpo just wanting to leave.
That man want to win a chip. Come down here, man. We building something around here.
On the roster at this point. There's absolutely no point in keeping him on the roster because the Bucks, at best, will be a play-in team with Giannis
when they won the
staying
chip,
on the team. May as well trade him for high-end draft picks to a team that is near contention, and there are a number of teams that come to mind. All the teams that I'm going to mention could either provide the Milwaukee Bucks with a player that they could build around for the foreseeable future, or on the cusp of making it to the NBA playoffs. So according to Shams Charania, 2-time NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo has not made any firm decisions, but for the first time in his career, he's open-minded about whether his best fit is remaining in Milwaukee or playing elsewhere, sources told ESPN. Now, a lot of these teams are still in the NBA playoffs, and whether or not they trade for...
Look, we not in the... Look. And when I say we, man, again, I'm from San Antonio, so I can claim the Spurs. We building something crazy here, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. The Spurs is building something dangerous around here. Come on, Giannis.
Antetokounmpo has to do with the way they finish in the NBA
playoffs.
Go. Take, for instance, the Oklahoma City
He better
Thunder.
not go to
OKC has won 68 games
He better not go
year,
to OKC.
But they're currently locked into a heated series with the Denver Nuggets, who literally have Nikola Jokic as their head coach. This team is young, exciting, has plenty of future first-round picks. I mean, really, they have a lot of first-round picks. They have 13 first-round picks and 17 second-round picks over the next 7 years. They can include Isaiah Hartenstein, Aaron Wiggins, and Cason Wallace as well in order to bring in a former MVP that has won an NBA.
That would be so unfair. I ain't gonna lie to you. They would be so stacked. It would be ridiculous.
Championship to team up with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
No,
can you imagine how terrifying the front court of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chet Holmgren would be if this trade was to get done? But I would personally say that this would only happen if the OKC Thunder lost to the Denver Nuggets in the second round of the NBA playoffs. If they make it to the Western Conference Finals, they may decide that they have enough to run it back to potentially get over the hump for next year. here. Another team that could potentially
Come on,
trade for
say
Giannis
it, say
Antetokounmpo
it.
is a team that has been in many rumors
Say
for other
it,
superstars in the
say
NBA
it.
that got knocked out a little bit earlier than they were hoping in the NBA playoffs. The Houston Rockets have some.
No, we're not talking about Houston. Hey, I think KD finna go to Houston. Hey, you know I root for Texas teams. Except for the Spurs, I'm a root for a Texas team. So I don't know if I like KD to the Rockets, though. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Very valuable draft picks coming up, including Phoenix's first round pick this year, the right to swap their pick with Brooklyn's first round pick in 2027, and Phoenix's first round pick in 2027 as well. 3 of these picks could without a doubt be lottery picks in the foreseeable future, and at the same time, the Rockets have the ability to be very aggressive if they wanted to
I don't
trade
think
for
Giannis.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
To be honest, if I'm the Rockets, I'm gonna give it a buck. If I'm the Rockets, it makes more sense for them to get KD instead of Giannis. Because the fact their problem this season where they didn't have a player that you could get a ball to and he could just get buckets. Like their offense was like real stagnant. They would go to Sengun and he would miss. Like they didn't have a player that can get their own bucket, get their own shot whenever they wanted. And KD fits way better, in my opinion. Giannis is better than KD right now, right? KD fits better for what the Rockets need because the Rockets' defense was fine. It's just their offense. They didn't have nobody that could score. KD fits them because he could shoot, stretch the floor, get his own bucket whenever you need him to. He fits more for the Rockets than I think Giannis would. Because then you would just have Sengun and Giannis like right next to each other, and it would kill the spacing.
If the Rockets wanted to be aggressive, they could dangle Amin Thompson in front of the Milwaukee Bucks. Alperen Şengün could potentially be traded with his contract increasing to $34 million next season. Fred VanVleet has a $44 million team option. They could also give up Jabari
Fred
Smith and Cam
the
Whitmore
bag.
and even potentially trade Jalen Green. Now, I'm not saying all these players
I
will
think
get
you try to
traded
get KD,
for Giannis
man. I ain't gonna lie.
Antetokounmpo, but the Houston
Rockets should
Rockets
try to get
certainly
KD.
have options. But I don't think there's a single team in the NBA that has a better chance of trading
Say it.
Giannis
Let me hear it.
then the San Antonio Spurs.
If Giannis comes down here to San Antonio, it's finna be mayhem. It's finna be chaos. It's finna be havoc. And especially if they can keep Castle, y'all don't really understand what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about it's gonna be if Giannis goes to the Spurs, next year they're gonna be a top 3 team in the West. Without a doubt. If they're not hurt, if they're healthy, top 3 team in the West. And if they keep Castle, you're going to have Fox, Castle, Giannis, and Wemby. Their defense is going to be stupid. I don't think y'all really, clamps. Everybody getting locked up, man.
This is a team that has been on record saying that they're checking in on a potential Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. Going into the NBA draft lottery, the San Antonio Spurs had the 8th best odds of getting the #1 overall pick. And personally, if they won that #1 overall pick, I would have expected them to keep Cooper Flag on the roster.
Fact, that would have been cold, cool. Cooper Flag would have been nice too. I ain't gonna count.
But since they didn't win the #1 overall pick, they now have
They have the 2nd and 14. You package 2nd and 14, give them Devin Vassell. I like Devin Vassell too. His name Devin. You know he a dog. You know all Devins are dogs. But look, you package Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, maybe Sohan. They gonna want Castle. That's the only problem. It's Giannis, so I mean. But it's hard to give up Castle, but that's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis and Wemby will be nasty. With Fox, we go top 3 in the West, I'm telling you.
very valuable draft pick that they would probably be more likely to trade as opposed to retain themselves. Not only that, they have 2 lottery picks in this year's NBA draft. So the San Antonio Spurs can make a Godfather-like offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They
Yes,
can trade
sir.
the #2 overall pick and the #13 overall pick, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, over to the Milwaukee Bucks in return for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes, and then we can I would add Keldon. I'd add them 3. You can get Keldon too. You get the 2nd, the 14, Keldon, Devin Vassell, and Sohan. You get all of that for Giannis. You keep Castle, top 3 in the West. They gonna look like OKC.
This will give the Bucks a young core to build around for.
Oh my! Let me let him talk.
Future, and it would give the San Antonio Spurs one of the most terrifying front courts in the NBA and a terrifying big three of Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and De'Aaron Fox. And this big three would be different than other big threes because Victor Wembanyama is still on his rookie scale contract. I would potentially say the New York Knicks are an option as well if they're willing to part ways with Karl Anthony Towns.
That's not happening. They finna go to the conference finals. They not parting with him.
Depends on whether or not they're able to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, or potentially the NBA Finals. I can't imagine the New York Knicks making a significant trade if their team is strong enough to make it all.
Dang, you got to be stronger than that, Big Al.
To the NBA Finals.
You can't get pushed like that. At the end of the day,
I'm a firm believer that this trade is happening no matter what, because it would do more harm than good for the Milwaukee Bucks to hold on to Giannis Antetokounmpo for the foreseeable future. They need to trade him now and start a rebuild, as opposed to holding on to their star player for way too long and getting nothing in return for him, and also being irrelevant until the 2030s. This rebuild needs to begin immediately. The Bucks did a great job putting a contender around Giannis Antetokounmpo, but in my opinion, it's time to move on. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this.
Oh my gosh. Think of it this way. So I said he shouldn't go to the Rockets, right? Because the spacing would be bad. All of that would be bad. They couldn't score. You send him to San Antonio, and he'll have all of the paint to deal with, because Wemby can shoot threes. They gonna be disgusting. He got to come to San Antonio. San Antonio, y'all know what to do. And so I bet you San Antonio make that trade. San Antonio really rebuilt. They went from, okay, we were trash. Oh, we got Wemby. Boom, we get Fox. Castle, we developed Castle. We looking, I'm telling you, it's looking scary. San Antonio finna be on top yet again, man. It's looking, I'm telling you, man, it's looking scary. And look, I used to hate, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it a buck, and I'm from San Antonio again. I used to hate on the Spurs, man. And I don't know why. I just didn't like them. For some reason, I did not like the Spurs. I like this new Spurs team, though, like Fox and Wemby and them. I like them. Especially since they scrappy. Even when they weren't winning, they was scrappy. They was playing hard. I like that, man. But look, man. Send him to San Antonio. San Antonio, make that trade, please. Come on, Spurs. Y'all make the trade. Pop. I know Pop's like general, like, what is he, operations or whatever. Make the trade, man. Send the 2nd and the 14th and Devin Vassell and Sohan and Keldon Johnson and get Giannis. And Milwaukee, just give up Giannis and rebuild. Y'all not going nowhere, so just rebuild. Just start over, man. Look, Giannis to the Spurs. I gotta see it. That's it for the video, though. Make sure you like, comment, share, hit the subscribe button. Comment down below what y'all think they're gonna do. You think you're gonna get traded to the Spurs, or you think another team might end up on top trading for him? Or if you don't even think you're going to get traded, y'all put that in the comments, man. But I'll catch you on the next one. Till then, I'm out. Peace.